Federal Trade Commission is investigating the impact of big tech and the big money that companies are spending on artificial intelligence. The FTC today issued orders for information from OpenAI, which is the developer of ChatGPT, plus Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet, the parent company of Google. And the commission says with billions of dollars being spent on AI, it wants to make sure these investments are not decreasing creativity and discouraging competition. So that's in from the FTC today. It comes amid growing concerns about artificial intelligence, how it could impact the election. In fact, there's one member of Congress who's working to learn more about AI by going back to school now. Congressman Beyer is a Democrat from Virginia pursuing a master's degree in machine learning. So, boy, that's something else. For all the times we're critical of members of Congress for, not doing enough, for not being involved, I guess the whole idea is you wanted to learn more about an issue. Is that's the genesis of this before we talk about AI?
That's exactly right. I was curious, seeing that AI, well applied, could completely change the way our lives work. And, very few of us on Capitol Hill have a background in math or computer science. So I jumped in, and now I'm surrounded by people a quarter my age who are actually very nice to me.
I bet they are. I mean, I don't, that's tough work. I mean, as a communications major, college was hard enough, but I have a daughter who's a computer science major, and it's, it's Greek, but it's important. So there you go. You're learning it, and it's important stuff to learn. And it might be important stuff politically. I want to talk a little bit about all these deepfakes that have been in the news and what you make of that, including up in New Hampshire, these robocalls involving President Biden's voice, which was not his voice, and how dangerous some of that could be and what we could do about it. Here's a clip of that. We talked about the story earlier, but here's a clip of that.
We'll need your help in electing Democrats up and down the ticket. Voting this Tuesday only enables the Republicans in their quest to elect Donald Trump again.
I mean, it sounds like the president to me, and I've seen some videos that are quite realistic as well. It's not him, by the way, and it was what they call deep fake. How concerned should we be about all of this when it comes to the election?
There's a lot of potential downsides with artificial intelligence, enormous upsides, what it can do to health, education, management. We all may be living 20 years longer just because of AI. But we've got to be ready to face the consequences of the inappropriate use of this. There was the AI earlier where they put Donald Trump in the same picture with Anthony Fauci, which I'm sure is not what President Trump wanted. They've been able to do deep fakes on voices for a while because people are great at imitation. When you can start to do it with the video and make it actually look like the person speaking it. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of different pieces of legislation on the Hill to prohibit that, or to require that there be a big banner that says this is generated by artificial intelligence.
Right, because we want the benefits of artificial intelligence that you're talking about. We're looking at some of that video right now, but there's all kinds of things in healthcare and other industries where we can do things we could never do before. There's plenty of industries where we can be far more efficient than we were before. So where is the role for government and Congress to step in terms of regulation to make sure that we get the good and we limit the risks? How should we approach it?
Well, you put your exact finger on it, because we don't want to go too far. Yeah. Many believe the European Union's going to really repress a lot of creativity and imagination. We don't want that. We want the full benefit of it. Many would argue that we already have the laws in place that when you're doing something like that, the fake phone call with Joe Biden, yep, that can actually be, people can be held criminally responsible or civilly responsible for that. The dilemma is that the damage may already be done, if it's guiding people to do the wrong thing. What we're trying to do right now is identify the specific instances where AI is misused and then develop legislation for it, so we don't go too far.
Are you close on that, or is it going to be a while? I mean, well, it certainly won't.
The nice part is it's very bipartisan. Jay Obernolte and Mike McCall, both good Republicans, are working with me and with Anna Eshoo, another Democrat, to try to get legislation done this year. We're basically at this point waiting for Speaker Johnson to say which collection of bills is he going to put on the floor. But I'm optimistic we'll get something done in this year.
All right, it's a very, very important issue, and we'll follow it very closely. And it's fascinating to see. It's George Mason, right? Is that where you're taking the classes and getting the master's degree? So you're going back to school.
It's a fun experience.
I bet it is.
I will always remember 2023 as the year I learned how to code.
I bet it is. I bet it is. Do you have a quick thought? I know you're a Democrat, but a quick thought on the news that was breaking as we came to you about this idea that the Republicans might pick their presumptive nominee before before anybody has nearly enough delegates?
Well, I certainly have no say in it, but one of my first things I learned in politics is that a week is a long time in politics. There's a long way to go before somebody gets those 11 or 1,200 delegates. I think it's in the best interest of American politics to see the caucuses and the primaries through.
All right, Congressman Don Beyer, Democrat, Virginia. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. Again, this is all coming from this draft resolution that we've been reporting on that NewsNation has obtained that would declare Donald Trump as the presumptive nominee of the party, and it might happen in a vote as soon as next week in Las Vegas. More to come. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.